Heartwarming twist. Little girl, exposed as innocent, receives life-changing help from millionaire. Lily Johnson, with her pigtails bouncing as she raced through the narrow streets of their small Midwestern town, was a whirlwind of joy. In a place burdened by economic hardship, her unwavering smile lit up every corner. She helped her mother, a tireless waitress at the local diner, carry bags of groceries, always eager to lend a hand, greet a neighbor, or share her favorite stories. As summer approached, the excitement for the annual town fair stirred in her chest, a tradition that brought families together, no matter the struggles they faced. But this year felt different. Whispers darted through the alleys and cracks of the old sidewalks. The community center, the beating heart of their town, was at risk of being shut down. For Lily, this building was more than concrete and walls. It housed laughter, friendships, and all the summer workshops that had once colored her childhood. Determined not to let despair creep in, she hatched a plan. She would organize a fundraiser, rallying her classmates and neighbors to protect their sanctuary. Fueled by her spunky optimism, Lily poured her heart into flyers, each decorated with bright crayon drawings and heartfelt messages. She walked door to door, her enthusiasm infectious, convincing even the most cynical residents. However, not everyone shared her vision. Mr. Alexander, the town's newest millionaire, loomed in the background, far removed from the community's plight. Staring out from his mansion, he felt like a ghost, haunted by his own painful past, dismissive of the little girl's spirited attempts to rally the townsfolk. As the fair approached, nerves began to fray. Donations trickled in, and Lily watched her dreams slowly begin to slip away. To make matters worse, a flurry of chaos erupted during the bake sale preparations, burning the central ingredients to a crisp. Her heart sank, the smell of charred disappointment filling her senses, threatening to extinguish her hope. She took a deep breath, her chest tight, refusing to let her dreams wither. Suddenly, from the shadowy edges of the fair, Mr. Alexander saw her. He stepped forward, curiosity piqued. In those moments he observed the community draw together, the old and young, united by laughter and kindness, the kind of scene he remembered from his own childhood, before privilege overshadowed his heart. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The night of the fundraiser brought tension and a palpable dread. Residents gathered, sharing dishes and laughter, yet a cloud of uncertainty loomed as they compared their meager contributions to the glowing needs of the community center. Lily, her heart racing, took center stage, searching for the encouragement she knew should be there. Just as despair crept back in, she was about to lose herself in a wave of buying hearts. Then, as the crowd hushed, the sound of a gavel hitting wood sliced through the air. A collective gasp filled the room. All eyes turned to Mr. Alexander, stepping into the light, arms raised with an open heart. The moment hung suspended. Would he join in and help? The sparkle of hope flickered in Lily's eyes. What would happen next? Would they come together to salvage their home, or would silence bury their dreams? The room buzzed with anticipation, a mix of excitement and anxiety. Mr. Alexander cleared his throat, his gaze steady on the sea of faces before him. "I've been watching you all tonight," he began, his voice strong yet laced with vulnerability. "And what I see is something I thought was lost: community. Togetherness. Hope." Lily felt her heart leap. He wasn't retreating, he was stepping forward. The air shifted, and the crowd leaned in, hanging on every word. "You remind me of my childhood, of simpler times, when people helped one another without hesitation." His pauses were like breaths of life. It felt as if he was slowly awakening from a long slumber. "It's taken me too long to realize the strength of a united community," he continued, placing his hands on the wooden podium for support. "Tonight I want to help in whatever way I can." Gasps of disbelief echoed like ripples through the crowd. Lily's eyes glistened as Mr. Alexander reached into his pocket, revealing a check. "This is my contribution towards saving the community center, and I encourage others to join me, to keep it alive for future generations." A wave of stunned silence washed over them before a collective cheer erupted, drowning out the earlier uncertainty. The weight of burden seemed to lift, breaths became deeper, and laughter poured freely. Lily's smile grew wider as she turned to her mother, who was wiping tears from her eyes, her face aglow with renewed hope. "Thank you! Thank you!" People shouted, some rushing to shake Mr. Alexander's hand, others clapping him on the back like an old friend. As Lily clapped too, she felt an overwhelming sense of connection not just to Mr. Alexander but to everyone around her. This was the magic of community in action, but there was something in his eyes, a flicker of sadness that suggested Mr. Alexander was not just sharing his wealth, he was searching for something he had lost long ago. Perhaps redemption. Perhaps a connection. And with that thought, a sense of understanding blossomed in Lily's heart. "Together we can not only save our center, but also create new programs, activities, and a real future for all of us," Mr. Alexander proclaimed, charging the crowd with enthusiasm. The more he spoke, the more the space pulsed with energy. Plans began swirling, new ideas, more events, fundraising goals higher than ever. Once he finished speaking, Lily felt a surge of bravery. She stepped forward, clutching the mic. "Can we start arrangements for a talent show?" she suggested, her voice shaky but determined. "We can gather the talents of our town and celebrate what makes us special." As she spoke, hope ignited again, and a chorus of agreements rang through the crowd. But the glimmer of joy also opened a door to questions. What did the future hold for Mr. Alexander? For the community center? For the friendships that were about to form? And would Mr. Alexander's help mend the wounds of his past, or would he always be searching for something more? As the night wore on and plans began to take shape, Lily noticed Mr. Alexander lingering at the edge, lost in thought. She felt a strange pull. Wasn't he part of their community too? In that moment, Lily decided she would find a way to connect with him. She would show him what this community truly meant. But would Mr. Alexander let himself be a part of it? And could he still find healing amidst all the joy? Lily navigated through the crowd, her heart pounding with determination. The energy in the room still crackled, like the aftermath of a thunderstorm where hope hung heavy in the air. People chatted excitedly about the new initiatives Mr. Alexander had inspired. But Lily's focus was laser-sharp. She needed to find him. She spotted him standing apart, the warm glow of celebration around him contrasting sharply with the shadows she could sense lurking in his eyes. She hesitated for just a moment, but then took a breath and approached him. "Mr. Alexander?" she called gently, trying to feign confidence. He turned, his expression shifting from deep thought to surprise. "Lily, right?" His voice had softened, and she could see a flicker of warmth beneath the weight he carried. "Yes. I just wanted to thank you for, well, everything tonight." She felt a rush of gratitude spilling from her heart. "You gave us hope. Like really. I know we can make this place shine again." He looked down for a moment, and Lily sensed the burden weighing on him. "I hope so too," he murmured, almost to himself. "What you did was amazing," she pressed on, "but I think we need you. More than the money." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "We need your story. If you share why this community center matters to you, it could help everyone understand how important it is. Maybe you could inspire even more people to join us." He studied her, his brow furrowing slightly. "You think that's what they need to hear? My past?" "Yes," Lily exclaimed, her voice brightening with every thought. "We all have stories. It connects us. I mean, look how everyone reacted tonight. It's not just about the money, it's about everyone coming together. You showed us how." Mr. Alexander sighed, a heaviness in his chest. "I'm not sure my story is one anyone would want to hear, Lily. But it's yours. It's what made you want to help us." Lily's enthusiasm was infectious. She stepped a little closer, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. I think you're looking for healing, just like we all are. Let us hear you. His gaze softened. She could tell he was wrestling with something deep inside, a turbulent sea of conflicting emotions. Was she right? Would sharing his story really help? Before he could respond, a burst of laughter erupted from the other side of the room, pulling them both back to the present. People were already buzzing with excitement about the talent show idea, voices overlapping in a joyful cacophony. Lily seized the moment. See? It's already happening. We're coming back together. You could be part of this journey. You could help us build something real. The shadows in Mr. Alexander's eyes slowly started to fade. Do you really think they want to hear from me? That I could actually make a difference? Absolutely, she asserted, her heart racing. You've already made a difference. Just look at everyone's faces tonight. They want this community to be strong. And you're an important part of that. He studied her, a quiet resolve starting to break through the hesitation. All right, he said finally, a hint of determination cracking through the uncertainty. I'll think about it. But only if you promise to help me. Lily grinned from ear to ear, warmth suffusing her veins. Of course. You're not alone in this. We're all in it together. As she turned to rejoin her friends, a smile danced on Lily's lips. Maybe this was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, a way for both of them to heal and grow. But just as she felt a surge of joy, her phone buzzed in her pocket. A message from her mother lit up the screen, and she couldn't help but feel a twinge of apprehension as she read the words. Lily, you need to come home now. I have news about Mr. Alexander, something you won't believe. Lily's stomach nodded with unease. What could it be? Did it change everything she thought she knew? The crowd around Lily faded into the background as the message's weight settled over her like a thick fog. What could be so important? She whispered under her breath, her heart racing. A sense of urgency tugged at her, pushing her feet toward the exit even if she felt the warmth of the celebration pulling her back. As she stepped out into the cool evening air, the scent of fresh grass and the distant sound of laughter still echoed behind her. But her mind was racing, conjuring up worst-case scenarios. Was Mr. Alexander in trouble? Did something awful happen to him? She quickened her pace, trying to push aside her fears. When she finally reached home, the door swung open before she could even knock. Her mother's worried face greeted her, the usual brightness gone, replaced with a serious demeanor that made Lily's heart sink deeper. Oh, Lily, you're home. Good, her mother said, ushering her inside and closing the door behind them. What's wrong? Lily asked, the urgency evident in her tone. She could feel her fingers twitch nervously. Her mother gestured for her to sit at the kitchen table. The light above them flickered softly, casting shadows around the room, and Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something heavy was about to be revealed. It's about Mr. Alexander, her mother began, her voice trembling slightly. I found out something about his past. Lily leaned forward, anxious. What do you mean? Is he okay? Did something happen? A lump formed in her throat as she imagined all sorts of tragedies. Her mother sighed, pulling a chair close. He grew up in this community. He was a part of it long before he became who he is now. But Lily, it was not an easy life. His family struggled. They faced hardships that most of us couldn't even imagine. He lost his parents when he was young. The words hit Lily like a wave crashing against a rocky shore. She felt her heart crack open, splitting wide with empathy. How? I mean, what happened? She managed to ask. There was a fire, her mother said softly, looking down at her hands. A tragic accident. He wasn't even there. He was at a friend's house and came back to find everything gone. The anguish in her mother's voice resonated, and Lily could only imagine the pain Mr. Alexander must have endured, bearing the weight of such a loss. But that doesn't explain why. Lily struggled to piece together her thoughts. Why didn't he ever say anything? Why keep that a secret? Her mother looked at her, her eyes filled with compassion. People often hide their pain, Lily. It's easier to wear a mask than to show vulnerability. He might feel that sharing his past could weaken him in the eyes of the very people he is trying to help. That's not how we see him, Lily objected, her heart racing with the urgency of understanding. We see him as a hero. He has done so much. Exactly, her mother said, her voice steeling. But doesn't he believe that himself? If he shares his story, it could make or break him. It could either connect him with the community or push him away due to fear. Lily felt the weight of this truth settle heavily over her. She didn't just want to thank Mr. Alexander. She wanted to show him that his past, painful as it was, didn't define him. That sharing those experiences could lift not just him but everyone around him. Her mother's gaze softened as she noticed the determination building within Lily. You need to help him. If anyone can show him the strength and vulnerability, it's you. Taking a deep breath, Lily nodded firmly. I will. But first, I need to know more. I want him to trust me. I need him to see that we're in this together. With newfound urgency, Lily stood up from the table. I have to talk to him. Now. Her mother's voice trailed behind her as she opened the door. Just be careful, Lily. But doubts lingered in the back of her mind. Would Mr. Alexander trust her enough to open up? What would happen if he pushed her away? As she hurried back to the community center, her heart raced not only with excitement but with anxiety. Would she be able to reach him? Inside the community center, the room was now quieter. A few voices floated from the stage area, where a couple of teens rehearsed for the talent show. Lily's heart sank again. She didn't see Mr. Alexander anywhere. Poised at the edge of hope, she felt a pull inside her. Where could he be? Maybe it was time to take a leap of faith. Would she find him hiding in the shadows once again, or would he finally step into the light she had hoped to show him? Lily felt a swirl of emotions as she stepped further inside the community center, searching the faces around her, desperate for any sign of Mr. Alexander. She hugged her arms around herself, as if the cold grip of worry would subsume her heart. The stage was lit softly, but the warmth she hoped to find was absent. Lily? A voice broke through her thoughts. It was Carla, one of the volunteers. She had a sparkle in her eye, but concern etched around her mouth. Are you okay? You look intense. I'm fine, Lily said quickly, forcing a smile that felt less convincing than she hoped. Have you seen Mr. Alexander? Carla frowned, shaking her head. I thought he'd be here. He was earlier, but I heard he stepped out for a bit. Maybe he's in the back office? With a hurried nod of thanks, Lily turned on her heel and headed toward the dim hallway that led to the office. Each step felt heavy, weighted down by her anxious thoughts. What if he was still avoiding the world? What if he didn't want to see her? Lily paused outside the door, taking a deep breath to steady herself. She thought of her mom's words, how important it was for Mr. Alexander to feel embraced rather than cornered. She raised her hand, her knuckles brushing against the cool wood of the door before she knocked softly. Mr. Alexander? She called out, her voice trembling slightly. After a moment, there was a shuffle, and then the door creaked open. Mr. Alexander stood there, a shadow of his usual self, his face etched with weariness. The warm glow of the stage lights cast an uneven brightness on him, amplifying the shadows beneath his eyes. Lily, he began, his voice low, almost hesitant. What are you doing here? I wanted to talk to you, she replied, her heart racing. About everything. He sighed, glancing back into the dim office before stepping aside to let her in. The cramped space smelled faintly of old paper and coffee, an unassuming little room that contained so much of him. As the door closed behind her, Lily felt the air shift, charged with unspoken words. Did you get my message? He asked, a flicker of concern crossing his features. I did, she answered. But I want to understand you better, Mr. Alexander. I want to help you. His brows knitted together in confusion. Help me? Why would you want to do that? Because I know you care about our community, she insisted, stepping closer. And I want you to know that what happened in your past doesn't change how we feel. You're still our hero. A silence enveloped them, electric. She watched as he buried his face in his hands, and for a brief moment, she thought he might break. The weight of his past seemed to crouch over him, heavy and suffocating. "I don't see myself that way," he finally murmured, his voice cracking. "I'm just a man, Lily. Trying to make amends, trying to do right by others." "But you're so much more than that," her words rushed out passionately. "You're not alone in this. You've carried everything by yourself for so long. Let us be here for you. Please!" He looked up slowly, meeting her gaze. In that moment, Lily could see the conflict in his eyes, walls made from shame and fear crumbling just a little. It ignited something inside her, a hopeful flicker. It felt like everything she had wanted to say was hanging in the air, just waiting for him to grab hold. "But what if I reveal more than I can bear?" he asked, vulnerability lacing his tone. Lily took a step closer, conviction swelling in her heart. "Then we will help you carry that burden, just as you help us every day." He seemed to ponder her words, his walls slowly creaking open. There was a heartbeat of silence, pregnant with possibility, and still a hint of trepidation flickered in his eyes. Maybe he could take that leap. Maybe it was time. "We can talk," he finally said, voice steadier, but fear still danced at the edges. The door of his soul was now ajar, but without knowing what lay beyond, could he truly step through? And in that shared moment, both Lily and Mr. Alexander faced the challenge ahead, a space where healing could begin, if only they dared to step further into the light together. But just then, the sound of a loud crash echoed from outside, snapping their fragile moment of connection. What just happened? A surge of fear rushed through her. Did something happen to the community they both loved? Lily's heart raced again, her instincts pulling her back into the unfamiliar territory of urgency and uncertainty. Lily's heart sank at the sound of the crash, a jarring reminder that the world outside was full of unexpected chaos. She exchanged a quick glance with Mr. Alexander. Fear mingled in the space between them. The moment they had just begun to share felt fragile, threatened by the uncertainty swirling in the hallway outside. "Stay here," he said, his voice steadying as if to restore some order. He moved toward the door but paused, looking back at her. "Are you sure you want to be part of this? It might be too much." Lily didn't hesitate. "I'm coming with you. We're in this together," she insisted, feeling a rush of bravery. If they were going to confront whatever was brewing outside, they should do it side by side. Mr. Alexander nodded slowly, his expression softening. Together, they opened the door and were met with a scene unfolding in the community center's main room. A large metal cabinet toppled over, its contents spilled across the floor, boxes, papers, and colorful supplies meant for the after-school programs. Several community members had rushed to the scene. Among them were familiar faces: Carla, with her hands on her hips, trying to direct the chaos. Kids stood off to the side, wide-eyed and whispering amongst themselves. "What happened?" Lily asked, stepping closer, her pulse still racing. "A couple of kids tried to move the cabinet themselves to get to the art supplies," Carla explained, exasperation evident in her tone. "And well, you can see how that went." Mr. Alexander immediately assessed the situation. "Everyone okay?" His voice was calm, a comforting anchor amidst the turmoil. A girl with pigtails nodded, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I think we broke it. I didn't mean to," she whimpered. Lily felt a surge of empathy for the little girl. She stepped forward, kneeling beside her. "It's okay," she said gently. "Mistakes happen. We can fix this together." As if on cue, other volunteers and community members began to gather around, working together to right the cabinet and collect the scattered supplies. Lily stood up, finding Mr. Alexander watching her, his expression one of quiet admiration. With each movement, the air shifted, anticipation giving way to an emerging sense of community. Words shared between adults and children alike echoed around the room. "Let us work together, we've got this, and no more crying." Lily felt hope swell in her chest. This was what it meant to be a part of something bigger. Mr. Alexander stepped beside her, and she could see him relax, engagement slowly replacing the residual tension in his body. I always thought I had to shoulder this alone, he murmured, half to himself. But it's moments like this that remind me everyone can share the weight. Lily smiled, remembering how she had felt before, trapped by the idea that one person had to be the hero. You don't have to do it all alone, she replied. We're here, ready to help. Just like today. As they bent down to pick up the fallen things, she felt a lightness growing between them, like a thread of understanding beginning to weave into something sturdy. The adults formed a human chain, but it was the children who approached with determination. Picking up paintbrushes, glitter packets, and cardboard cutouts, they laughed and joked among themselves. Maybe this can be kind of fun, one boy said, tossing a shiny sticker in the air. The energy was infectious. Laughter rang out like bells, cutting through the remnants of fear. For Mr. Alexander, standing amid the joyful chaos, something seemed to shift inside him. It was as if those cracks in his armored facade began to fade slightly, letting in the warmth of camaraderie. But as the cabinet was finally righted and the supplies restored, a distant siren pierced the air, growing louder and closer. The crowd fell into an uneasy silence, tension creeping back in. What now? Lily asked quietly, looking up at Mr. Alexander, who was scanning the horizon beyond the center. Whatever it is, we face it together, he said, a newfound resolve in his voice. But in the depths of her heart, Lily felt another shiver of uncertainty. Just what might the sirens mean? As they stepped tentatively toward the entrance, that familiar tightening in her chest returned, leaving her with deep concern and hope. What awaited them outside could change everything and lead them deeper into healing or fracture the fragile connection they had just begun to build. Would they be ready for it? As they stepped into the chaotic world outside, the sounds of the siren grew clearer, cutting through the remnants of laughter from moments before. A heavy cloud hung over the community center, as if the joy they'd shared had been an illusion, now ripped away by an unseen hand. Lily glanced over at Mr. Alexander, his eyes narrowed in focus, the usual warmth they'd just shared replaced with concern. She grasped the cool metal of the doorframe and took a steadying breath. Would he be able to stay strong when the real threat was revealed? The moment they crossed the threshold, they were struck by a sight that sent chills down Lily's spine. The streets were alive with commotion, the familiar faces of neighbors mingling with worried expressions and pointed fingers. People stood clustered around a van parked awkwardly at the corner, the gray body contrasting sharply with the vibrant colors of the community they'd built. It was already grim enough without the increasing number of flashing lights that illuminated the scene. What's going on? Lily's voice barely broke through the noise. Over there, Mr. Alexander said, pointing toward a cluster of adults where a boy sat on the sidewalk, his ankle twisted in an unnatural angle. Concern etched deep lines across Mr. Alexander's face. Someone's hurt. Tentatively, they moved closer, but the closer Lily got, the more her heart raced. Fear rippled through the small crowd, and breathing grew heavier. She was painfully aware of the weight of uncertainty hanging between them. The crackling tension was thick enough to choke on. The boy was familiar. Jacob, one of the younger kids from their after-school program. She had seen him smiling just hours before, covered in paint as he worked on a mural with the others. Now, he groaned softly, tears mixing with the dirt on his cheeks. I tried to jump from the fence, he sobbed, glancing up with wide, frightened eyes. I didn't mean to fall. Mr. Alexander knelt beside him, his calm voice wrapped around the boy like a warm blanket. Hey Jacob, help is on the way. Just breathe. You did great by staying still. Lily felt a surge of admiration for him, watching as he took control of the situation. He was no longer just an instructor. He was becoming a guide in an island of chaos. She stepped in closer, placing a reassuring hand on Jacob's shoulder. We're here, buddy. You're going to be okay. But then, almost instinctively, Lily's eyes were drawn back to the van that seemed to loom over the scene. It appeared abandoned, its engine still running, as if it had just pulled up at full speed. Something felt off. What if it was part of the problem? With the sirens flashing and anxiety filling the air, questions bubbled up inside her, desperately scrambling for answers. As if reading her thoughts, Mr. Alexander's gaze flickered to the van too. Let us find out what is happening, he said slowly, a shadow of determination crossing his features. But the tension didn't dissipate. Instead, it grew thicker, almost suffocating. More people gathered, their concerned faces forming a wall of anxiety. Then suddenly, a woman darted from the crowd, her eyes wild with fear. Please, someone help my son! Time seemed to stand still, the air electric with dread. Mr. Alexander exchanged a quick look with Lily, understanding flickering between them. There were layers to the chaos that had to be unraveled, and it wouldn't just take intuition. It would take courage, a courage that sometimes felt like a fathomless pit of uncertainty. With a deep breath, Lily turned toward the messy scene, her heart pounding in rhythm with the sirens. I can't just stand here, she thought. Was she ready to dive into this chaos that could go so many ways? But the moment of indecision slipped away as she crouched beside Mr. Alexander, ready to help not only for Jacob but for everyone around her. Just as they braced themselves to step further into the fire, another sound erupted from the shadows, a chilling declaration that shattered her fragile resolve, a crash of glass and the echo of voices that sent shivers down Lily's spine. What lay behind the van, hidden from sight? In a place that had felt safe, could it turn threatening within moments? Lily's heart raced, teetering on the brink of fear and determination. What awaited them next could change everything they believed in. Lily barely had time to process the crash when all eyes snapped toward the sound. People shifted and murmured, their whispers thick with apprehension. Mr. Alexander stood up, scanning the crowd for signs of trouble. The woman's frantic pleas hung in the air, heavy with desperation, as parents gripped their children tighter, the atmosphere thick with palpable fear. Stay here with Jacob, Mr. Alexander instructed, his voice low and steady despite the chaos around them. I'll check it out. Before Lily could protest, he was already moving toward the van. Jacob's whimper pulled her focus back. It hurts, he murmured, his eyes glistening with tears. Just focus on my voice, Lily said, trying to project calm. Breathe with me. In and out. She demonstrated, inhaling slowly, holding the air for a moment, and then exhaling. Jacob's eyes followed her as he mirrored her slow breaths, his body trembling with pain but responding to her tenuous calm. The crowd's energy was almost suffocating, fear echoing in the shuffling feet and quiet gasps. It felt like hours passed as Lily soothed Jacob, but in truth, it was only moments. She managed to catch a glimpse of Mr. Alexander, crouching beside the van, his body tense but purposeful. She wished she could follow him, to feel some of the courage he exuded, to help unravel the tension choking the air. But instead, she could do nothing more than comfort the boy who needed her. Just then, a figure emerged from behind the van, tall, clad in dark clothing, with wild hair that framed a worried face. It was a young girl, maybe around 10, her expression a mix of terror and bewilderment. She clutched a small bundle to her chest. I'm sorry! I didn't mean to break anything! Mr. Alexander stepped back, surprise flickering across his features. It's all right, you're safe now, he said, his voice gentle. What's your name? Sarah, she stammered, an air of defiance edging into her voice even as she visibly shook. I just wanted to play with my dog. The dog? He asked carefully, his gaze flicking to the bundle she held. She didn't respond, only tightened her grip as muffled whines escaped from underneath the fabric. The crowd collectively leaned in, a wave of curiosity shredding through their worry. We need to check on Jacob, Lily reminded herself, her heart torn. This girl was lost in the chaos, and though she felt the instinct to stay by Jacob, the eagerness to help Sarah clawed at her. What had she witnessed that made her appear so frightened? Lily glanced at Jacob before making a choice. I'll be right back, she whispered. She knelt close to him, forcing a smile. Stay with Mr. Alexander, okay? You can do it. Standing, she walked towards the van, her heart thudding in her chest. The girl was still trembling, but there was a flicker of hope in her eyes as Lily approached. Hey, Sarah, can I help? For a moment, Sarah studied her, weighing her words carefully. He's scared and I think he's hurt. Curiosity bloomed in the crowd as whispers turned to earnest questions. What kind of chaos had led to this moment? Lily knelt down gently, reaching out. Can I see? As Sarah slowly let the bundle unfurl, Lily prepared herself for whatever was hidden inside. She didn't realize until then that more than just a helping hand was needed. Hope flickered in her heart, mixing with fear as she cautiously revealed what lay beneath the material. Would the discovery bring answers or throw them into deeper chaos? Lily's heart raced as she wondered what awaited her, and if she was truly ready for the truth. The fabric fell away, revealing a small, trembling puppy, its fur matted and its eyes wide with fear. A collective gasp echoed from the onlookers, shifting the atmosphere from one of tension to a fragile mixture of surprise and empathy. The puppy whined softly, its small body shaking in Sarah's embrace. "Oh no," Lily breathed, her heart aching at the sight. The tiny creature seemed to sense the chaos, and its whimpering only deepened the crowd's concern. "Is he hurt?" Sarah shook her head vigorously, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I don't know. He ran out, and when I tried to grab him, her voice trembled, trying to contain the panic that threatened to emerge. I just wanted to keep him safe." Lily reached out, her fingers brushing the puppy's soft fur. "You did a good job getting him out of there, Sarah." She hoped her words could build some reassurance. "He's lucky to have you." The crowd watched closely, their eyes shifting between the girl and the puppy. Mr. Alexander returned, wiping his hands on his pants. "What do we have here?" "A puppy," Lily said softly, "and he's scared." "Let us get some space around them," Mr. Alexander instructed, and people reluctantly stepped back. Light filtered through the trees, giving the scene a surreal calmness amidst the chaos of the crash just moments before. Lily knelt beside Sarah, her heart swelling with compassion as she looked between the girl and her trembling puppy. "Do you have a name for him?" she asked. "Not yet, but he's my best friend, and I couldn't let anything happen to him," Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Best friends are important," Lily smiled, thinking about Jacob. "Why don't we take a closer look at him?" With gentle hands, Lily lifted the puppy from Sarah's arms. The little creature instinctively nestled into her embrace, its tiny heartbeat vibrating against her chest. "I think he just needs to feel safe," she said softly, looking into Sarah's anxious eyes. But as Lily held the puppy, a deep worry settled into her bones. "We need to make sure he gets checked out, just in case." Sarah nodded, her small face grave. "Can I come with you?" "Absolutely," Lily said, her determination growing stronger as hope flickered back to life. As they made their way toward the assembly area where medical personnel had already set up, Lily glanced back to find Jacob had succumbed to silence, his face pale. A shadow of fear clawed at her heart. Some nurses had arrived to tend to the injured, their uniforms white against the colorful chaos around them. One of them approached Lily, concern etched on her face. "Is this the puppy we heard about?" "Yes," Lily nodded, pushing aside her anxiety. "He might need help." "I'll take him," the nurse assured. She reached out, and for a moment, Lily hesitated. But Sarah's small hand tightened around her wrist, and in that squeeze, Lily found resolve. "You'll take care of him, right?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. "Absolutely," the nurse replied, her demeanor gentle. "We'll make sure he's okay, and you can stay right here with us." Fear eased in Sarah's eyes, but as they watched the nurse carry the puppy away, a new worry rose within Lily. What if the puppy had injuries? What if the vet found something worse? Lily knew they couldn't simply stand by and hope for the best. Anxiety prickled against her skin, the weight of it nearly overwhelming. "Sarah, are you ready for this?" "What do you mean?" the girl answered, confusion mingling with fear. "If we can help him, we can help each other. You're brave, and it's okay to be scared. We can face this together." Sarah took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Lily's. "Together?" "Together," Lily affirmed, feeling a unity swelling between them, a bond blooming amidst chaos. But just as the nurse returned, the sound of another crash echoed in the distance, drawing the attention of everyone around them. A new wave of panic flooded the air, and Lily's heart dropped. "What now?" she whispered, dread pooling in her stomach. As they turned to investigate, what would they find? And what would it mean for the growing bond they'd forged in this small moment of chaos? The chaotic sounds that erupted around the community center blared like warning sirens, shattering the fragile moment Lily had just shared with Sarah. Eyes widened in fear, people began to scatter, searching for answers in the turmoil. Lily's heart raced once more as the new crash echoed, sending ripples of anxiety through the crowd. Each frightened face mirrored her dread, but Lily couldn't let fear consume her. She took a steadying breath and turned to Mr. Alexander. "Stay with the kids," he told her, his voice steady like a lighthouse in a storm. "I'll check it out." "Wait!" Lily exclaimed, urgency bursting from her. "We should go together." But Mr. Alexander's resolve didn't waver as he stepped away. "Trust me. We need to keep them safe first. I'll return." As Mr. Alexander moved into the chaos toward the new sound, Lily's instincts battled between the urge to follow and the responsibility of comforting the scared children around her. Her eyes checked back to Sarah, who still held onto her wrist, fear pooling in her gaze. They both needed each other, and the urgency of the situation sparked a flame of courage within Lily. "Sarah," she said gently, kneeling beside her, "we can help. Let us stay together, and keep everyone safe here." A small nod of understanding broke through Sarah's worry. "Okay." Just then, Carla rushed back, her cheeks flushed. "What happened?" she asked, breathless. "There was a crash," Lily said, glancing around for reassurance. "But we're okay. We can help each other." "Right," Carla said, breaking into a breathless smile. "Let us keep the kids calm. They need someone strong right now." Lily and Carla began directing the children, forming small groups to keep them occupied. Laughter flickered as some kids started to build makeshift art projects with fallen supplies. Sarah picked up a paintbrush, her fingers shaking slightly but determination gleaming in her eyes. "Can I make something for the puppy?" she asked softly. "Of course," Lily encouraged. "Let us show him how much we care." Just then, a small cluster of children surrounding Jacob drew Lily's attention. He remained silent, his face pale and worried. She rushed to him, kneeling beside him again. "Hey, Jacob, how are you feeling?" "We're all here." He managed a faint smile. "I'm okay, just scared." "You did a great job staying still," she soothed, pulling him into a gentle hug. "Help is coming, just like it always does in our town." A flicker of hope ignited in his eyes as he listened. It was a small victory that made her heart swell. But with every moment that passed without Mr. Alexander's return, worry gnawed at Lily's gut. "What's happening out there? Is he all right?" Then, in that charged silence, she caught sight of Mr. Alexander burst back in, a focused expression replacing the earlier tension on his face. The crowd drew in closer, murmurs filling the air. "The van I saw it had been broken into," he announced, causing the whispering to heighten. "Someone inside might need help too." "What do we do?" Carla asked, her voice barely containing her anxiety as she adjusted her position over the children, ready to shield them. Mr. Alexander's command was clear. "We need to work together to keep everyone safe. I need a few volunteers to help me check it out." Before he even finished, Lily felt an impulse rush through her. "I want to help," she declared, raising her hand. "Me too," Sarah chimed in, determination gleaming through her fear. "Me three," some kids echoed, their excitement helping ease the tension. "Okay." Mr. Alexander softened, his expression shifting from concern to pride. "We need to approach carefully. But if we work together, I know we can solve this." A flood of hope surged within the crowd as volunteers began moving forward, rallying around Mr. Alexander's quiet strength. As they stepped toward the van, Lily felt the vibrant pulse of the community surrounding them. It was a collective spirit, blooming in adversity, much like the flower seen pushing toward the sunlight from a crack in the pavement. They neared the abandoned van, and Lily cast a worried glance around. With a deep breath, she stepped closer to Mr. Alexander, who stood just alongside her. "No matter what we find, We face it together, she whispered. Mr. Alexander nodded, eyes glistening with something unspoken. And for a moment, they both felt the immense power of community. In this moment, they were no longer divided by past mistakes or burdens. They stood united, ready to face whatever came next. As they reached the van, Lily's grip tightened on Mr. Alexander's arm, reassuring herself that they could do this. The worrying thoughts of uncertainty faded beneath the echoing heartbeat of courage. Finally, the van's door creaked open under Mr. Alexander's steady hand, revealing the truth inside. A young man, eyes wide with fear, and the realization of his own vulnerability glimmering in the tension-filled air. Instantly, the work they had done began to unite, not just to help the moment, but to weave the threads of their community closer together. And just like that, in the face of chaos and uncertainty, Lily felt hope ignite within her once again. Together, she whispered under her breath, "We can do anything." It was the promise of connection, healing, and transformation that would extend far beyond this moment. Lily knew this was just the beginning. Feeling renewed, she turned to the others, fueled by a conviction that they would carry on, stronger than they ever had been before. So, if you're feeling that spark, that connection, don't wait. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending because we want to hear from you. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of backing this channel.